Okay, so trying to trying to stream to many different locations and learning how to do this tech. So here we go. Hi everybody, and it is late. We're going to be burning the midnight oil. Absolutely, I would do anything um, to get our son's remains, to get them back with dignity, to get accountability for the absolute brutal crime that they committed against him, taking his life. I want them held accountable. The crimes in this case are absolutely worth, or it's justified that the people that committed these crimes will face a death penalty. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Um, this criminal group, the level of crimes that they have committed, not just in Richard's case and not his brutal code red murder. It's been 1,581 days since Richard was brutally murdered, code red, premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss, on our military installation, just had turned 21, a volunteer soldier, a volunteer son of this republic, our son, and it was a code red. It was his own. And why? Because he saw something, he said something. There was criminal trafficking going on. There was abuse of power by the leadership. There was fraud. There was uh, security breaches everywhere. The SOPs, standard operating procedures, in the barracks were not being followed. The barracks were flush with weapons. Richard knew uh, information, had information about the Walmart mass shooting. His platoon leader, Dallas Hart, absolutely connected to the Walmart mass shooting. I'm not just saying that. He's connected through his family. He's connected through Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, through Danae Katzen, this criminal group that is absolutely part of the Walmart mass shooting. And there was a lot of crimes being committed, and it's all coming out. And through this investigation, let me make sure that I'm on Facebook too. Thank you so much for. We are. I can see everybody now. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on all the time and offering your prayers and your love. And I have, those feelings coming all the time. And it is amazing with this breaking news that I have for you today, why we're coming on so late. The shaking in the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court is just getting started. It's just getting started. We have it confirmed that lawsuits have already been filed and are continuing every day to be filed because the judges are imposters. The judges that serve there have been committing crimes because they have been wearing the robe, putting the gavel in their hand and acting like judges when they're not. They have no authority under the law to be judges on that court. That is a very powerful court. Ever since 2015, it has been given full jurisdiction, countywide jurisdiction. Because of that, under Texas Constitution, Article 5, Section 30, those judges are required to be elected. And you can go to the Texas Law Code 54.732. If you put that in Google, 54.732, what will you find? You'll find the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court. And this is because there is a huge, huge shaking. And how did this happen? How did this shaking happen? It was because we discovered a picture of our son that was floating around on social media, and it was an illegal picture. And that picture had evidence on it that identified the jail, the magistrate jail office. That's where it came from. That a computer was breached in that office. Somebody allowed access to the jail computer and brought up the picture and took a picture of it right there, and then put it on social media. And we inquired about that. We absolutely, we're a Gold Star family. Our son, a volunteer soldier, a whistleblower, he's dead. He's dead. It's been officially declared he's dead. And so when we inquire um, for answers, you would expect a little bit of humanity, right? You would expect a little bit of manners, and um, clearly there were abnormal behaviors, irregularities, and with that, Lee's Team 5 Richard Halliday says something is not right here. It stinks. This is very stinky business going on here, and we need to look into it. And so Team 5 Richard Halliday looked into it. We have very smart people, and it was absolutely discovered that this is a county-wide jurisdiction, and therefore the judges that sit on this court with this much power have to be elected. They have to be elected. Look up Texas Constitution, Article 5, Section 30. And I hope yeah, I'm right. And you will see they have to be elected. And this is I'm gonna have all that framed up. Maybe I'll get a wallpaper made out of it, because it's so important to our son's case, because of the fraud perpetrated upon El Pasoans since 2015, and that Veronica Escobar approved the payment for this, that Judge Samaniago has approved the payment for this fraud, and that the public defender, that was interesting too. Something very, very stinky is coming out of the public defender. Here we are trying to be very nice and notify everybody of this crime that's going on, and they don't want to. They're not really appreciative of it. And it's important because DA Montoya is coming out of the public defender's office. He has the obligation to bring this up. It's there. It's on the internet now. And now we have confirmed that the lawsuits have started against this court for and what does that tell you? That tells you that we are right. We're right again. That violations have been committed, that this court is acting without authority, um, by having unelected judges sit on this court, um, that they are absolutely imposters at this point, and Team Fine Richard Halliday, say Richard Halliday's name. You can thank Team Fine Richard Halliday, and I hope, and not that we want thanks, we want our son's remains. We want a light shined on Richard's case because we have evidence that confirms that the government, the United States government, possesses our son's partial remains, at least his partial remains. And we want them. And we want them back with dignity. And we want accountability for what was done to our son, the taking of his life, and the cover up. And that needs to be done for the sake of our country, for the sake of El Paso, for the sake of our military, for the sake of our young people that are thinking about joining, that have joined. There needs to be a loud message that obligations must be fulfilled, that oaths must be taken seriously, that crime within the ranks is not tolerated. A code red against a soldier is not tolerated. Criminal trafficking, crimes against children is not tolerated. And the fraud in our judicial system is not tolerated. The fraud in our elections, because what is happening here is a denial of our rights to election. Okay, so in this case, it's El Paso County. They absolutely have been denied their rights to elect these judges to this very powerful court. And so that cannot be tolerated. We have this beautiful Texas Constitution that gives the rights to the people so that tyranny cannot exist. That, we have a republic if we can keep it, right? A republic if we can keep it. A democratic republic if we can keep it. And so the rights to election is very, very important. I believe election is like a sacrament, just like the laying on of hands, ordination. We call it ordination in church, where you lay hands on those that, to the priesthood. And I believe that when you are a judge, you are a minister, right? You are a minister of the law. You are a minister of keeping freedom and civil rights and humanity. Everything that Judge Medrano has shown that does not have those qualities. He does not have those qualities. Look at what he has done in the Walmart mass shooting case. Look at what he has done to the families of the victims. These backroom deals to keep this case going on and on. Look at what he's done in Richard's case. Look at what he's done to Patrick Crucius. Look at what he's done to with the gag order, with messing with the election of a duly elected district attorney, Yvonne Rosales. She's broken. Clearly, she's broken, because she could absolutely assert her rights right now and get 2 years of pay. 2 years of pay, a lot of money. And she would also get her name back. She would get a legacy back. She would be like a Joan of Arc, right? Coming back. She'd be like a Joan of Arc. Um, and clearly, she has been very broken. I hope that she doesn't let foolish personal things stop her opportunity that's closing very, very quickly to regain her name back. Everything that was given to her, right? The election was a gift to her from the people. They voted for her. And to honor that, to embrace that legacy, that gift, it's a gift. Um, yeah. And so that the this criminal group can be absolutely vile and vulgar. I've been on the end of it. I've been on the end years, I guess years. We've been targeted for years, right? And it is really, really difficult. That's where we're very grateful for our faith. And I hope that she um, looks to her faith to get her through this hard time. Um, but it is just good news after good news after good news. And the good news is that there are lawsuits that have already been filed, more are being filed, and the civil rights of the people are going to be a very big deal to El Paso. And we're very grateful and honored that Team Fire Richard Halliday could expose this and get this news out to all of these families, because I will tell you right now that these judges, like Penny Hamilton, um, like others, and have been up to no good. They've been up to no good. And a elected judges would really restrain that nonsense and that crime and that evil. And so all of Penny Hamilton's warrants and subpoenas, and in Richard's case, there were a lot, 70. I think it was 70 the last time. Last time I heard 70. Can you believe it? They absolutely knew that he was dead. It was absolutely a cover up. They absolutely lied to us. And Penny Hamilton's up to no good. And now she retired from the court. I believe she's illegally collecting a retirement from the court. And who did she go to work for? The usurper Bill Hicks and and the 30 in the district attorney's office that was bleeding help, because who wants to work for a usurper, right? Who wants to work for someone that can't even get it right when he is um, appointed during a recess, right? Appointed during a recess and can't get it right, can't even sign his anti-bribe line. Um, yeah, and I guess she does, because she's up to no good. And she absolutely attacked the people of El Paso by attacking the election of a duly elected district attorney. And of course, our open records show that there was a group that conspired together. If you don't like the word conspired, let's say schemed. They schemed together to remove and replace Yvonne Rosales illegally. They absolutely schemed to attack our key whistleblower witness in our son's case. And all that is, and we've got an amazing whistleblower witness, um, and they schemed. They are just, they don't, you know, nothing stops them. They have no, their heart is like stone. Isn't that what God says? Their heart is like stone. There's no humanity in them. And it is just really evident in this case, when they trample on the civil rights of this country, of the people of this country. And thank God that we exposed it. And it has a lot to do with Richard's case because of the subpoenas and the warrants, because of the chain of custody when it comes to his remains. All of that has to go through a judge, a court. It has to be, um, you know, legally documented and everything. And so, this is a very, very big deal. And, when it comes to the employees of these judges, um, they have to watch out. We've notified them. We do these live streams. They are absolutely aware of the situation because now there's so much shaking. It's like a big earthquake in the courthouse and in the jail. There's a huge, huge shaking. Um, of course, what they've done to Patrick Crucius because um, he was arraigned through that court, and now they're going to let him go free, y'all. It's so crazy, instead of having the trial, finding out who was with him, who helped him, who helped him do all of this stuff, who put him up to it, what is all the background to this. We would have all the shooters then. We would have all the orchestrators. We would have justice for the victims in this case, and we would already be moving forward. But and we would absolutely have Richard Halliday's truth. We would have our son's truth. We would know about what they were trying to cover up and everything. And there has been this very corrupt judge, Judge Medrano, and that's not my words. That is, what we've been hearing. He's the most corrupt judge in all of El Paso history. And his wife works for this mag court. In that jail, she's like second, right? She's like second in charge. And she's very, very involved. And we notified and said, look, if you're going to act on these orders from these imposters in the court, then you have to be very careful. And so Team Farm Richard Halliday, uh, what do you call it when you have these employees knowing that what's going on is wrong, but still doing it? That's called vicarious liability. They're going to be held accountable for vicarious liability. And we're not happy about that. We have warned them. And even though we know that they were up to no good with the breaches in security there, with the picture of our son, but we're talking about huge, huge crimes that go on and on and on. And let me tell you what, I'd pack up my box and I'd leave. I would not be helping out these imposters, right? I would not be made liable for continuing this fraud. And so, pack up your box and wait until we have elected judges, and then you can say that you had some character, that supported the election, and that the people, you were happy that the people had their rights to elect judges to this powerful court. and I'm sure you'd get a job back, probably a pay raise, and you'd have your honor. You'd have your honor. You'd have, um, eh, you can't, after you're notified, you can't say I didn't know, right? And so we've notified. It's out there now. I think that the employees should not perpetuate this court at all, and pack up the boxes and go home. Go home. And these lawsuits are piling up, and you'll have very quick change. Very quick change. And I hope that they say Richard Halliday's name. That's my little hope in that, because we want, like I said, our son's remains and accountability. So that is huge, huge news. And then, of course, what we're getting also is that these media bosses are also in danger for vicarious liability, protecting journalists that have a lot of information, that have made promises that they haven't kept, that they absolutely have targeted us, targeted our son, um, and so the bosses of the media is also in danger for vicarious liability, and that is really good news for us, bad news for them. What do I mean by good news? Is because they are feeling the pressure of continuing this blackout on Richard Halliday. And, so it's just a matter of time. It's such a huge, huge case. And we are every day exposing more and more, especially with the independent school districts. Don't forget about the FBI agent Cordero that was really suspiciously killed, and that is still ongoing. All of this stuff takes a little time, and but now with the new administration coming in, especially with the new border czar, Tom Homan, he is pinpointing El Paso as the nucleus for the criminal trafficking. And there's more going on, and there's more. And when it comes to the ISDs, they seem like a little bit of a doorway, to um positions that lead to bigger crimes, and facilitating crimes. So it's going to, whatever we expose, and it's been a lot, and I haven't been talking about Nadal Baim for a while, but whatever we expose, and it's so much, there's so much going on, um, that, it, there's going to be a time when they can't say anything else but Richard's name. So, we are being shadow banned. We are, that's very, very clear. But our message and um, our reports are getting more and more plain to see. And so, my message to Team Find Richard Halliday is that we are working very hard behind the scenes. We are continuing the last couple days. We're just pounding with letters and complaints. And, uh, I sent off one today. It's so big. It's so big. Rob put that thing together. It's so big. So we definitely, um, the results, I think the public is seeing, Team Find Richard Halliday is seeing it, what we have done. and all for justice for our son. We want accountability and we want our son's remains. The fact that we have evidence that confirms that they have some of Richard's remains and that they have not given it back to us cannot be tolerated. No way. No way in hell. No way in hell. They must give us back our son's remains. And so the exposing of all of this criminal activity, and we are praying all the time that it's going to make El Paso a better place. And I think right now with the court, just with these judges, can you imagine 5 judges? And this is a panel of judges over time of, since 2015. And so there's many judges. And we're exposing them and we're exposing Judge Medrano. They all should lose their job. They all should lose their license, right? And then look at, a defense attorney that is, asking for or demanding, really demanding an open checkbook, getting millions and millions of state and federal funds, not even reporting the absolute tampering of this application to get counsel. That is such a fraudulent form. And, Patrick Crucius signs it, he's like a child. And, Patrick Crucius was living in a really upscale apartment and living in San Antonio and working at Cinemark and having a car and having a computer and having um, online, right? He had online. And then they fill out a form saying he's not worth anything, zero, and he comes from an upscale family. Um, yeah, the fraud being perpetrated, but Joe Spencer had the duty to expose that fraud, right? But because he's, I don't know, is he greedy? Because it's for financial gain, for the millions of dollars for the open checkbook. So I don't know if he's greedy or not. It just seems like he's very, very greedy to us, for keeping this going on and on and on for state and federal funds with a client that is absolutely not capable of understanding the charges against him, can't even fathom, that's a Joe Spencer's own words, can't even fathom what happened. And yet he's perpetuating and even saying, oh, that the DA didn't even tell us that our client had autism. Are you kidding me? One little phone call to any neighbor would tell you that he was out at 3 years old, banging his head on the sidewalk. One little look at his school record, talking to, he failed kindergarten. He was in special education. He was put in a special place in the room because he would get so frustrated and he would hit himself. And so all of this self harm, this self harm that Patrick Crucius was doing, and then not getting a medical team around him to analyze him, as soon as as soon as he was even arrested, that needed to be in the works, right? And yet they didn't. It took till 2023, y'all. Um, so they needed to have a team to evaluate him and everything. And then he needed protection because he was already had a history of self-harm with the autism. And now we're hearing that in prison, he's tried to take his life. He's tried to take his life multiple times. And yet yeah, he looks very abused. And it sounds like, I'm on his side. I'm just a humanitarian, I believe that you have to be humane, right? Um, but he did. He absolutely was part of this group. He absolutely, well, he turned himself in twice, right? Once and he got turned away. It's not time yet, Patrick. It's not time yet. Go away. And then he turned himself in. He was all clean. His shoes were clean. His hands were not bagged for evidence. He turned himself into a Hispanic police officer. So all the narrative, he's autistic. He's severely mental. He has a severe mental health condition. Um, he has a history of self harm and a condition of self harm, and yet they're not getting a medical group around him to protect him, to analyze him, to evaluate him. It stinks to high heaven. And Joe Spencer stinks to high heaven. It was to me, I don't know. Is it greed? Is it all for money? Is it for power? I don't know, but it wasn't for El Paso, and it wasn't for the victims. It wasn't for Richard Halliday's truth. It wasn't for Patrick Crucius. The rule of law, that you're innocent until proven guilty, that the bias is clearly there. The want for an open checkbook is clearly stated by him, and so it's the more that this is coming out, the better. The more people that talk about this, the better, because this cannot be tolerated, right? It just cannot be tolerated. So thank you so much, Nina. Thank you for coming on. Blessings, Mrs. Halliday. Justice for Richard. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. Thank you for your prayers and your love. We are moving forward like like this is a train, right? This is a train, and we started, and it's kind of slow going, and then we discovered things, we identified things, we filed and we filed and we filed, and it just got a car added, a car added, a car added, more weight and more power in this train, and now it is just shaking. When a train comes by, because our destination is not the MAG court, right? The El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court. That's not our destination, but it's driving by there and it's shaking it up. It's shining a light on it, shaking it up, and hopefully it will free a lot of um, individuals whose civil rights have been violated, who've been wrongfully imprisoned, who have been wrongfully ordered to do this and that and such. And because let me tell you, the criminals, the real criminals, um, for the most part, these criminal cases, they let the criminals go. Remember the one mag court, that mag judge that let all of these that rioted at the border go? They just let them go. So, it's like, who do they target? They might target some, it's going to be interesting with these court cases, how they come through. But clearly, something had to be done. So, and I'm not saying all of these people that went through this court was innocent, but look at what they did to Patrick Crucius. Um, they absolutely violated his civil rights, and they absolutely manipulated so that we um, cannot find out, or could not find out for years and years, that he had help, right? He had help. He belonged to a group, a criminal group. And we want to know who the criminal group is, because we believe they are the same as the criminal group that are the suspects um, that house the suspects, that are part of the suspects, or the suspects are part of them in the murder of our son. So thank you so much, everybody. God bless you. There's so much here that the media, where is Kacherga? Where's Kacherga? Angela Kacherga, where are you? You're supposed to be so caring. You're supposed to be all this. Let me tell you what, she is like this very I cannot tell you what a fake she is. She's just a fake, a total fake. And, where is she? The same thing with Bob Moore, same thing. These reporters and the bosses that are protecting these dirty journalists, right? We have behind the scenes have absolutely notified. And so, they can't say they didn't know that, they can't say that Richard's case is a little case, right? Um, this is big news. And they are absolutely, it's called vicarious liability. And, they are perpetuating the cover up of the Walmart mass shooting case that's covering up Richard Halliday's truth and Richard Halliday's case. That's what they're doing. That's what the media bosses are doing. And they're liable. They're liable for that. And they have absolutely been notified. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens, because things are really getting seismic. That's the only way I can describe it. It's just shaking like crazy. And, just keep saying your prayers. God's timing is perfect in all of this. And then we'll say, oh, yeah, no wonder God waited until this date to reveal all these things, to do all of this. And we are absolutely ready to work with the Trump transition team. We know that their focus is on the hundreds of thousands of children that were trafficked, that are mostly dead now, getting accountability for those children. And we also know that their focus is on the 3 and 4-star generals. We have that confirmed. That's been the focus. They have to get those that are serving foreign and domestic enemies out of there. They have to fire them, and they have to replace them in our beautiful uniforms and our beautiful stars with those that love this country and love our military and will take their oath seriously and will take their obligations to care for their soldiers, their service members seriously. And that is a really positive development. So we're really willing and eager, wanting to work with the Trump transition team. And yeah, so that's all happening. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.